Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you. And it's for Thursday, 15th day of March, 28th day of Adar. A technical moment in the Seder that we need to straighten out. You know, early on in the Seder, you're going to have a part of the Seder called Carpas. And some of you will use parsley for that. Some of you will use maybe celery. Some of you will use maybe potato. It's dipped in salt water, and here's the technical part. Whatever you're using for karpas, that's all good as long as you're using one of the good Jewish traditional customs. I just listed some of them. But here's the complication. You need to make a bracha of borei peri ha'adama before you eat that parsley or that potato or that celery. Okay, so please make that borei peri ha'adama. And that borei peri ha'adama is for the parsley. Here's where I'm going with this. That borei peri ha'adama is also going to be for the maror that you will eat later in the Seder, which is all before the hamotzi. Let me repeat that so it doesn't get complicated. You're going to make a bracha borei peri ha'adama before you eat the karpas. That's what you're supposed to do. You don't want to make an unnecessary bracha later on the maror. We don't like to make brachos unnecessarily. So the proper thing that's written by all the rabbis, and you know the way to arrange your seder, is to make that bracha of borei pri adama once on your karpas, and then that bracha of borei pri ha'adama also should be for the maror, the bitter herb that you're going to eat later in the seder. Okay, that's all good and fine so far, but you know, when you eat that karpas, you're going to run into the small halachic question of, should I make a bori nefashos at the end of that karpas? If you do, then it kind of rounds out and ends that activity, and then you'll need another new bracha on the maror later. So I hope I'm not sounding complicated. If you missed me there, now let's get to the proper way to do this so no problems happen. Make a bracha of borei pri adama before the karpas. Eat the karpas, eat only a small amount of karpas. A little bite of parsley, a little bite of potato, or a little bite of celery. But no borei nefashos is required because your bite was less than an olive size. It was really tiny. You fulfilled the mitzvah of karpas. You made a borei pri adama. That eating didn't end because it didn't require a borei nefashos and you didn't make a borei nefashos. And then that borei pri hadama can easily continue on and be valid for the bitter herbs that you're going to eat later in the Seder. I know that sounded complicated. Let me end and simplify it and summarize now. Proper procedure at the Seder is to prepare a little piece of karpas, make a bracha of borei pri hadama before it, then eat the little tiny piece of karpas, a really small piece. No borei nefashos is required at the end of that karpas because it was really tiny. That borei pri ha'adama bracha, you thought in your mind it's for the karpas, and it's also for that bitter herb that I'm going to eat later. And later you eat the bitter herb, and your borei pri ha'adama from karpas covers also for the bitter herbs that you're going to eat later in the Seder. I'm sorry if that sounded complicated. It's probably clear to those of you who understand all these concepts. To anybody who's a little bit confused by it, please check with your rabbi. What is it again that I do at Carpas? And here it is one last time. You make a borei pri adama before you eat the karpas. You eat a small piece of karpas. You don't say borei nefashos, and then that borei pri adama covers for you for the maror, the bitter herb that you're going to eat later in the Seder. And then after that, you're going to have motzi matzah, and the motzi matzah is just going to be wonderful because it's going to have a bracha of hamotzi, which covers for all the foods you're going to eat during the meal. Hope that wasn't too complicated. I promise tomorrow's will be less complicated. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.